So as we continue with Age of Ultron issue number 4, we again pick up with Luke Cage as he realizes that the Vision is actually occupying this current point within the Ultron city, that it's not actually Ultron who's here. Now at the moment, we don't know if Ultron is the one that's controlling everything through Vision, or if it's actually the Vision who has somehow gone awry and is controlling everything. But what the Vision asks Luke Cage is what it is that he has to offer. And Luke Cage asks the Vision if he's the one that did all this, if he's the one that he's talking to. And Vision says that Ultron can hear him, that Ultron can see Luke Cage. And for the most part, Luke Cage doesn't really know what to make of this. Luke Cage is a little unsure, and he again asks where it is that Ultron is at, presuming that Ultron may very well be in a different city or perhaps out in space or something like that. But what the Vision tells us is that Ultron isn't even in this current time, that Ultron is actually in the future, that he's controlling everything from the future. He's controlling these Ultron robots, and he is to a degree controlling the Vision. Now the Vision says this of his own accord, indicating to us that Ultron is really more, I guess, using the Vision more of like a window to control the past, more so than outright controlling the Vision. And so the Vision seems to be used simply as a conduit for Ultron to control the past. And what the Vision says once, I guess, Ultron regains control of him is asking again Luke Cage what it is that he has to offer. But She-Hulk has overheard enough at this point. She realizes that there's really only one road from this point, and so what she does is tell Luke Cage to get out of here and to tell Tony Stark everything he's overheard. From here, Luke Cage is a little surprised by this, and Luke Cage is actually reluctant to leave, and so She-Hulk throws him out of the building. From this point, She-Hulk again goes on a tangent and says that she believes that she's almost the strongest one there is, as she begins to defeat, or I guess to tear apart, these various forms of the Ultron robots. But just as she's beginning to gain the upper hand, one of the Ultron robots is able to shoot her in the side of the head with a laser beam and effectively kill her. From this point, we see the Vision is a little disheartened to realize that she's dead, and that he really is helpless to stop any of this from happening. And so as Luke Cage is is landing after his throw from the building, the Ultron robots begin to pursue him. And again, because Luke Cage has indestructible skin, there really isn't a whole lot they can do to defeat him, and so Luke Cage begins to take out his rage and aggression on them. He tells them that they killed his wife, that they killed his baby, that they killed his friends. But as Luke Cage is again preparing to try to defeat these Ultron robots, that it appears that what's taking place is a nuclear blast over New York City. Now we don't know exactly whether or not Luke Cage survives this nuclear blast yet. All we know is that at this point there's been a massive explosion within the immediate vicinity of downtown Manhattan. From here, we pick up with Mark Spector and Natasha Romanoff, and what Natasha Romanoff is telling us here is that she was able to open the black box that they were previously unable to open, and that within this black box are Nick Fury's end of the world scenarios, one of which is a situation in which Ultron was able to take over the world. And the question that Mark Spector is asking here is, what are they supposed to do? What's supposed to happen next? Natasha Romanoff says that Nick Fury had a series of secret bunkers all over the world, and that one of the bunkers was designed to be an end of the world bunker, and that this end of the world bunker is located in the Savage Land, indicating to us that both the forces of Captain America as well as Natasha Romanoff and Mark Spector will most likely all end up meeting together within the Savage Land proper. At this point, we transition to 8 days later, and what we see is that the forces of Captain America's team have arrived in the Savage Land, but rather than finding a Savage Land, which may very well have been free from the destruction of Ultron's forces, they instead find that the Savage Land has been riddled with destruction. There are various potholes, and they appear to be nuclear explosions around various portions of the area. And again, they found a jet here, a Avengers jet, and the question they have is who it was that flew it here and how it landed, or who it was that did this. Again, the Invisible Woman is keeping them invisible for the most part, so they're trying to do what they can to decipher what it is that's taking place before going further, because for all they know, it could very well be another Ultron robot or some other third party they're unaware of who has somehow managed to land in the Savage Land. But As they're investigating the area, they realize that there is a man on the hilltop. And when they reach this hilltop, they realize that it's Khazar, the Lord of the Savage Land. Now, Khazar is a character that we haven't necessarily gotten into yet for a good reason. That reason being because, for the most part, he's not a wildly important character in the realm of Marvel Comics at the moment. He's more important back in the 90s, but for this point, he's really not a major player in this story. But what he tells us is that when Ultron's forces began to overrun the world, when they began to take over, that they invaded everywhere, which included the Savage Land, and that what's left, these various huts in this small little village, is all that's left of Khazar's people, of the various people spread across the Savage Land who have managed to come together to try to keep themselves safe. But he also tells them that within one of these huts is what it is that they're looking for. Emma Frost uses her telepathic abilities and realizes that within this hut is Luke Cage, and that Luke Cage had piloted the Avengers jet that they had found, and apparently had been irradiated due to the fallout from the nuclear explosion, that he's alive, but that none of them need to go in there and see him, most likely indicating that he's grotesquely disfigured as a result of his exposure to the nuclear blast. And she tells us that Luke Cage, after the explosion, had crawled to safety, had managed to make it into the jet, and then crawled to this village within the Savage Land. And what Luke Cage tells Emma Frost telepathically is that Ultron is not in this current time, that Ultron is in the future, and that in order for them to defeat Ultron, they're going to have to find a way to travel to the future. And so again, we see that this question becomes, what are they going to do next? What's going to happen next? And as the group is trying to figure this out, we see somebody else chime in and say that they're going to get Ultron. At this point, we switch to Red Hulk, and Red Hulk says they're going to eliminate Ultron from the face of existence. At this point, we learn that who also is here is Mark Spector, Moon Knight, along with Natasha Romanoff. And Natasha Romanoff tells them that because they discovered Nick Fury's, end of the world scenario files, because they discovered the location of his end of the world bunker, that they know exactly how it is that they're going to have to kill Ultron. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and bring this video to an end. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, let me know, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.